financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is IRS getting soft? Not so. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. The IRS getting soft. The IRS is doing a wonderful job. Absolutely. Everybody should believe that.
Jeffrey Linden.
Morning, Ken.
No, I'm not being audited right now.
I'm feeling sarcasm coming from my right. It's like a wave.
Jeffrey Kirshner.
Good morning. I don't know if it's soft or they're just missing out on a few things. There's nothing soft about the IRS, that's for sure.
And they're not cuddly either.
There's nothing cuddly about the IRS.
Recent article, April 19th, NPR. IRS misses billions in uncollected tax each year. Here's why. They're understaffed. They're missing about $600 billion in uncollected taxes per year. That's a lot of coin. Last year, they received 230 million calls. They have 15,000 people to answer those calls. That amounts to 16,000 calls per person. If you worked 2,000 hours a year, that's 8 calls per hour.
I read somewhere.
That's impossible.
I read somewhere that they only answered 28% of their calls.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what I do. I have a whole extra phone for calling the IRS because you're on hold forever for an hour or two at a time, and then their system just times out and hangs up on you half the time. And they probably log that as one of their calls that they got, but it doesn't go answered and you don't get the assistance.
Well, so it's not the bat phone.
No, it's not red either.
Well, it
certainly doesn't help you.
It actually is the bat phone. It is the bat phone. It's the phone that you want to take the bat out
Right.
and smash.
It's
the
that
phone
bat phone.
that you want to take. It just so happens you want to take the bat out and smash it because you're so aggravated that you can't get them on the phone. Now you might wonder why I just so happen to have a bat under my desk.
Ken, why do you have a bat underneath your desk?
How many years have we been partners?
A long time.
I rest my case. So,
Funny thing is, that used to be my bat, and somehow it ended up in his office. I haven't quite figured it out.
I'm the Batman. All right, so here's the interesting thing with IRS, and I was looking at this. Their current budget, or their budget in 2020, was $12.3 billion. And they've been asking for more money to increase staff.
Well, maybe they should
And
collect some of that money so they can get funded properly.
They didn't get what they wanted. They got allocated another $675 million for 2022, which leaves them $100 million short of funding their current operation, which means it's not giving them any money to add staff.
Wait. Is the IRS running its business in a deficit?
They are.
Only the government can run their business in the red. The rest of us have to either make a profit or we go broke.
I think even if they collect more money, they don't get it because it goes
No,
into
it
the
gets
general
allocated
fund.
into the
They're
general
still
fund. Right.
they're still stuck in a budget thing.
They're
But here's the
budgeted.
crazy thing, and I understand it, but think about it. When we have a crisis like we had the pandemic or we have Ukraine, and Congress recognizes the problem on a bilateral basis, it's nothing to get $40 billion for aid to Ukraine this week and next week and $800 million. And for some reason, $800 billion. The thing I've noticed is they never put anything for $1 trillion. They just, it's okay to do $500 million, $400 million, and $300 million over the course of 4 weeks, but they stay away from that $1 trillion number.
That's the same rationale as the thing you want to buy in the store is $47.99.
Yeah, but to allocate funds is easy. But for years, we got $600 billion in money that they're not collecting, and we're not funding IRS to collect the money. So the question is why?
Oh,
I
it's
think
political.
Well, it's
all.
because
It's a
it's clear.
time bomb.
No, it's clear. It's just uncollectible, so why spend the money?
I think the answer is everybody hates the IRS, including our congressmen and our senators. They just have a hard time putting their hand on a button to give them more money, probably because they're thinking, well, if IRS has more money, then I might get audited. And everyone, so the people that are voting that have to allocate that money are probably, well, first of all, we know who they prioritize in terms of who to look out for when it comes to how they vote and how they react. They look out for themselves. They don't look out for the betterment of the American public. We all know that. That's been
And
demonstrated.
then they look out for the corporations that pay all that
But it's
money.
just
to
an
them.
unpopular political issue when you're talking about
Yeah.
funding a
But-
branch of the government that's going to take money allegedly away from people, even though people may owe it. To take money away is so politically unpopular that nobody is going to fall in that sword.
Yeah, but it's crazy because you have to. I mean, it's also costing us money.
Sure.
If the other $600 million was $600 billion was collected
not
every
million,
year,
billion.
was collected, then our taxes would be lower and our deficit would be lower because the $600 billion that's not being collected is not coming from the four of us. We're paying our taxes. The $600 billion that's not being collected is being paid is money that other people are taking the income and they're not paying their taxes, and that hurts all of us. So they really do need to address that because if they were collecting their money, then all of our tax rates would be lower. That's why I always used to say, go to an electronic funds cash basis. Get rid of paper money. If you can't work for cash, you're gonna capture all of that income. No one would ever agree to it because people like to work for cash. It's crazy. But IRS myths. So we know the funding problem exists, but it creates myths also. I'm going to throw out one. If you don't file, they won't find you.
Oh, right.
False.
Right. They won't find you.
You just don't exist.
You don't exist.
Well, they don't have any people to find you. They don't have enough money to find you. Let's take a break. We'll come back and put that together with the budget problem.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
Pat was recommended by a friend who insisted that we really needed a trust. And he said, I know somebody who will do a good job for you.
At Samasco Law, we deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
We had excellent service from Samasco Law. Any questions we had were addressed. Our estate is in order and it had been set up so well that nothing needed to be done. I would just highly recommend Samasco Law.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, Dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, so let's go back to myths. So the first one I think is, it's the mindset. Okay, I know I owe money. I haven't filed. If I file, they're going to come after me. If I don't file, maybe they won't find me. I did that in 2016, then 17, then 18, then 19, and now I haven't filed for 6 years. Is that, you see that all the time, don't you, Jeff?
Yeah, but they get found.
Eventually it comes up, and that's the big problem. And even the person who does that the first year thinks they're going to solve the problem the next year.
Well, then they get sheepish and they're like, well, now I have a bigger problem, so if I file now, I'm going to get hurt more. So then it perpetuates this psychology of
And then 3 years
avoidance.
later, they don't have any records, too.
So isn't the problem, though, with people, they don't file a lot because they're afraid of having to pay taxes, but isn't the bigger problem not filing as opposed to not paying the taxes?
Well, it's a bigger financial
Absolutely.
problem. First of all, it's a crime to not file if you're supposed to file, and two, the non-filing penalty is 5% a month up to 25%.
So it's immediately 25%.
It's immediately 25% more liability, plus interest and penalties on that too. It just makes it much worse.
Yeah,
Plus,
we
people
talk
don't-
all the
people-
time about the mistake of not
Yeah.
filing. Yeah.
People forget that if they don't file, they won't find you. I mean, depending on how you earn your money, if you get a paycheck, if you get a
They got your
W-2, if you
W-2.
get a 1099, the IRS knows. They know what you're earning. What they don't know
They know
is if
what
you have
you're earning,
deductions.
and they know where you're earning it, so
Right.
they can prepare a return for you, and then they can garnish your wages.
Absolutely.
And remember also, if you're working for cash, which a lot of people that don't file their tax returns do, you're not protecting your future
Right, 'cause you're
and
not
your
paying
retirement
Social
because you're not
Security.
paying into Social Security. And if you're not paying into Social Security, you better be putting away a whole lot of money for your retirement, or you better be sure to drop dead before your last nickel disappears.
You brought up a topic that it's not even on the outline, but I'm glad you did it. It's insane and such a mistake to work only for cash your whole life and not create any Social Security. You get, first of all, you can't get Social Security disability, right? Okay.
You don't have an earnings record.
And you
can't
get to
Social Security.
66 and you retire, you have nothing to retire with. You have no Social Security.
If you don't have 10 years of earnings, you're not entitled to regular Social Security even when you retire.
That
Right.
whole concept of working for cash is such a mistake to make. And if you're the employee, a lot of times I have clients come in who represent the employer, and he says, I can't get anyone to work unless I pay them cash. So that's why the employer's paying them cash. And then he's got the problem, he can't deduct the expense, or if he's deducting the expense, it's not proper. If you're the employee in this market, if you're saying, I want $1,000 a week and I want it cash, then say to him, you got to pay me $1,300 a week and I want a W-2. And you're going to net the same money. That's what you should do, because then you're building yourself a retirement, and you have to insist on that. It's a big mistake that people make.
Just one other thing is if you're working for cash, you're not necessarily considered an employee because it's based on what you contribute. If you get injured at work and you're not considered an employee, you're going to be out of luck as well, too. That's going to create
Yeah,
other
the-
problems.
the other
Then
part
you
of
got
it
a
is-
workers' comp issue.
Then you
of
got a
whether
comp
they
issue
work.
also,
Yeah.
too. So,
The other part of it is you get treated like you're an independent contractor by the employer, and that's how they see it. And so they just write you the check. You're not paying any taxes at all, but if you're an independent contractor,
You got self-employment
You've got
tax.
self-employment tax, which means that you, instead of paying 7.5% to Social Security,
14.
you're paying 15.
13.56,
Well, it's
yeah.
15% including your Medicare, and 15.2, and then at the end of the day, you're setting yourself up for a big problem with Uncle Sam.
All right, let me give you the next myth. This is the one that goes more to the audit issue. As long as you declare your income, it does not matter if you overstate your expenses.
Until you get audited.
Which is wrong. Until you get audited. There's so many flags depending on how you earn your income and whether you're a sole business and how much you earn, the type of business that the IRS looks at. They know how people try and shave taxes.
This is a big one. I mean, and people have this fallacy. I ran into this recently with a client. It was a doctor, and he had declared his income, and he overstated his expenses by $800,000 a year. That's fraud. And what happened? He got criminally prosecuted for fraud. And when he first came in, and I talked to him, he says, well, they can't prosecute me because I declared all my income. All I did was overstate my expenses. Well, I said to him, overstating your expenses like that is the same as not reporting your income. You think that they're going to buy that? So that's just to let you know, that's a fiction. It's not true. Here's another one. Taxes are not constitutional, so I don't have to pay.
That's a great one, because not only is it just wrong, but if you express that out loud, my ability to help you resolve your tax debt is gone.
Why?
Because it immediately disqualifies you for the discretionary relief programs. If you're a constitutional objector to income taxes, the IRS says, great, too bad, pay.
And from a practical matter, I mean, we've been doing this for 40 years. We don't even like representing the person that thinks that taxes are unconstitutional because they are their own demise. There are solutions to the tax problems, just like what you said, but you have to work within the system. If you want to try and work outside the system, you're putting us in a position where we can't help you. And if we can't help you effectively, we don't want to charge you and we don't want to take on the engagement because it's not going to lead to an outcome that you're going to be happy with. And if you're not going to be happy with it, there's no point in pursuing it.
Well, no, we can help them. We can give them directions to another country where they can move to and expatriate themselves.
That's a big one, though.
Also,
you see it a lot.
One other thing you talked about were deductions. If you don't file your tax returns, eventually when the government catches up with you, they know what you've earned, you don't get the benefit of any deductions at that point, correct?
Right. It's called a substitute for return. When the government files that for you, if you don't get anything more than a standard deduction. So you lose money.
So in that case, so you need to avoid that. You want, even if you're behind on your filing your taxes, you file them, you estimate your expenses, and you get them filed on your own.
But don't overestimate your expenses.
And then you're eligible for bankruptcy. You're within reason, absolutely. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do a short case study.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
We were just spinning. We just didn't know what was going to happen next.
At Samasco Law, we deal with these issues every day, especially elder law. Pat went to work for Fran.
Patrick was there holding my hand, kept saying, we'll get through this, we'll get through this.
He got her husband Medicaid and in a nursing home. Samasco Law got the success they deserved.
Samasco Law is definitely family to me. I really appreciate knowing all of you.
Time for announcements. So I remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m., Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m., and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Live seminars are back. Wednesday, June 8th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., How to Make Debt a Thing of the Past. We'll go to all the methods we use to eliminate debt so that you can try and keep pace with your debt to actually save money for your future. Well, the whole goal is so you have something to retire with when that time comes. Debt elimination is a key part of that process. We're going to have a special segment with Jeff Linden on how to resolve tax issues. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up for that one the same way, thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. Just call our offices, 888-235-HELP, or go online, and there's boxes to click to sign up for a free consultation. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat or Jim Samasco, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Sign up at lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also, go online, check out the free reports, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by myself and Jeff Linden, Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Quick case study. Ron and Rita, 2 kids in college. They owe taxes from 2017 to 2021. $15,000, $17,000, $10,000, $20,000, and in 2021, $5,000. They're making $90,000 a year. They got limited equity in their home. They got $15,000 in their IRA. They got $100,000 in credit card debt. Let me just ask you a quick question, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
If I told you they had another $100,000 of available credit on their credit cards, should they use the credit cards to take cash advances to pay off the taxes?
So there's a practical answer and then there's a legal answer.
Give me the quick answer, because we only have 4 minutes left
The
in
answer
the
is
show.
no, they shouldn't, because it's basically taking a debt that's non-dischargeable on their taxes, some of it, and turning it into a non-dischargeable credit card debt if the credit card company's ever figured it out. Because when you pay your income taxes with a credit card, it actually is codified that it's a non-dischargeable debt. However, from a practical standpoint, having seen it be done for many, many clients, the credit card debt goes away in the bankruptcy.
All right, so what are they? All right, so here's my questions. What do they, you guys? What do they do about the taxes? What do they do about the credit card debt?
Realistically, the taxes, the 17, 18, and 19 are likely, at least within the next couple of months, going to be dischargeable in bankruptcy, which Brian can get rid of.
Well, 18 is. 19 would
19
be due, 20 would 23.
23.
So in
So
the next
they
few
still
months.
have $35,000 in tax liability. They could be eligible for an offer and compromise, but because of the value of their IRA and the equity in their home, their minimum offer, regardless of their income status, is going to be $12,000. That's still a good deal. That's getting rid of it for half, if they can swing it.
And the good thing about this, though, is you're putting them into a bankruptcy to get rid of those first 2 years, and you're getting rid of the $100,000 of credit card debt.
Yeah, and quite honestly,
What about their $15,000 in their IRA? Do they get to keep that in the bankruptcy?
in the bankruptcy they do. And so there's maybe, since if the facts were different and they a little bit, they had more income or less, whatever it is, an offer might be more appropriate. But in this case, truly a Chapter 7 is going to be the right
Because they
choice.
want to get rid of the $100,000 of credit card debt.
Yeah, and not
Right.
only that, they could
But
take
will they qualify for the credit for
$90,000 a year of income with a family of four? Absolutely. Yeah. There's
So they
no
don't have that
question.
problem with what you call the means test?
No, in fact, they could probably be making about $120,000 a year and still qualify for that Chapter 7. If not, we could put them into Chapter 13 and just pay the priority taxes that would be non-dischargeable in the bankruptcy and pay nothing to everything else.
So the priority taxes that are non-dischargeable are 21 and 20?
And 19.
19.
19 would become dischargeable April of 2022, or 2023, I mean.
Okay, so that's a ways to go. Okay, so they get rid of, in the bankruptcy, they get rid of $32,000 of credit card debt right off the bat, and they get rid of $100,000 of credit card debt. So yeah, it's a super good deal. And then you could put them into a payment plan for that.
Right.
What kind of a payment plan can you get?
Well, they'd qualify at that rate for, immediate with minimal financial information, probably a 72-month or an 84-month installment payment plan without having to go through. If they can't afford that payment, then we dig deeper into their finances and we can adjust the payment plan based
So
on
if
what
they
they
owe
can
like
afford to pay.
$30,000 and you're paying it off over 84 months, that payment's going to be pretty nominal at that point, isn't
Right.
it? Okay.
Less than $500, about $400.
Yeah.
Yeah, and meanwhile, they've been trying to pay on $100,000 of credit card debt,
Which is
$2,500 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a no. This is the thing that people don't realize is tax problems are resolvable in two ways. We have bankruptcy is a very valuable tool, along with the offer and compromise, installment plans, and so forth. You don't want to analyze a tax problem in a vacuum and only go to the person that does the offer and compromise and handles tax problems and doesn't have the bankruptcy background.
See, the bankruptcy makes sense no matter what, but if their tax obligation was $100,000 of priority non-dischargeable debt, the Chapter 7 would get rid of the credit cards, and then Jeff could do the offer and compromise and get rid of the tax debt.
Yeah. So for our friends Ron and Rita, there is a solution, and even though this problem seems big, it's actually a simple solution given these circumstances. And one of the big factors is get rid of the credit card debt as well. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.